The LeFH is inarguably one of the most toxic tanks in the game tier for tier, and because of the various financial obstacles to directly altering premium tanks, there really isn't any hope of wargaming outright nerfing this SPG by conventional means. Even so, there are several ways to balance this SPG to make it significantly less toxic. Here I'm going to propose a 3-pillared strategy that can indirectly nerf and drastically reduce the number of LeFHs seen in random battles. And even if you don't play lower tiers, you should listen in, because the longevity of this game and your ability to farm noobs depends on them surviving lower tiers in the first place. Heading right into this, the first approach involves changing the matchmaking and how it handles these vehicles. In a similar fashion to the recent EBR matchmaking changes, the number of LeFHs per battle would be limited to 2 per match, with each team having one of these SPGs. Additionally, the matchmaker could account for the player's ratings and make sure that each LeFH player would be matched up against somebody of similar rating. But this wouldn't be to balance the teams. Rather, this change would ensure longer wait times for the LeFH player because of the more complicated matchmaking. With this change in place, it would serve as a soft disincentive to playing the vehicle, which is exactly what we want if we're looking to have less of them in our games. Another method for reducing the amount of LeFHs in random battles comes in the form of a buyback or trade-in program. The idea being that we could reduce the number of these SPGs by incentivizing players to trade them in for other valuable content. However, many players will not want to give up their LeFHs without a seriously alluring prize. My suggestion is that we offer the LeFH owners the ability to trade in their SPG for highly unique tanks with new features. A good example could be super heavy French tanks that featured multi-turreted weapon systems. They would obviously need to be balanced such that their placement at either tier 5 or 6 could solidify them as a slightly better alternative to a TOG. Other avenues of compensation could include gold, credits, bonds, or other discounts toward premium vehicles that wouldn't expire. And before moving on to our last pillar, if you guys are enjoying this content and you hate the LeFH just as much as I do, go ahead and leave a like on the video. If you're interested in hearing about more ideas that could help improve the game's health, consider subscribing to my channel. In the near future, I plan on taking some of the game's most pressing issues and actually developing ways for the community to see changes like this come to the game. The next indirect nerfs more broadly address the entire class of artillery. It's quite obvious that many artillery players have no clue how to counter each other. To encourage artillery players to learn how to counter, several features could be implemented. The first being thicker, red colored tracers that are much more noticeable than the white ones currently in the game. Additionally, making the gun blast from artillery fire visible to players when in an aerial view could add another method of detection. These two features that would be exclusive to artillery players could make it easier to pinpoint where an enemy artillery is, and add more dynamic gameplay by allowing a greater possibility of counter battery fire. And to further encourage this gameplay, artillery missions or epic medals could be changed to reward counter artillery kills. And with these changes in place, the LeFH's high rate of fire would actually work against itself. By continually revealing its position with red tracers and blasts from its barrel, the player runs a greater risk of being countered. Now, with this all said, I want to address the elephant in the room. Why would wargaming want to nerf the LeFH in the first place? Here I'll offer 2 rationales. The first reason they should look into changes like these is to ensure the game's longevity. If newer players are constantly matched up against LeFHs, they won't continue to play the game for long, and wargaming could lose that customer. The second rationale is purely monetary. More specifically, the LeFH's reputation would allow it to still be sold despite these proposed nerfs. Even with a supposed trade-in event, wargaming could still profit. In this scenario, wargaming could either fully exchange the LeFH for another valuable tank, or allow players to trade in the LeFH for a huge discount towards new content. Thus, the players would pay a small amount of gold to purchase their new vehicle, and wargaming gets paid. Now, I'm very aware that not everybody would be on board with these changes. Certainly not the LeFH players, but also those who wish for the tank to be outright removed. With these approaches, I took what I think are realistic and possible options that balance a concern for wargaming's profit, and what I think the community could theoretically push for. And that's really what I want to explore further. How might the community actually push for changes like these? And why should we try now? Answering questions like these depend on us noticing when there are breaks in the pattern of wargaming's feedback deafness. Moments such as the cancellation of Crew 2.0, the addition of Universal Sixth Sense, various waves of balance iterations, and the delay of experimental equipment are all examples of breaks in this pattern. So what made them listen? And why are we seeing a very subtle shift now? Could investigating this, and possibly leveraging what we could find, make it so our voices are heard again? If you guys want to see me explore these questions further, I encourage you guys to stay tuned to the channel by subscribing. I'm going to be putting out a lot of content on this, and I don't want you guys to miss out on what it means for specific issues in the game. As always, feel free to give me feedback and let me know what types of topics you guys want to see covered. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and happy holidays. I'll catch you next time.